Use infrared as an ancillary inspection service. Now, I have an infrared camera right here in my pocket. This is one of my favorites. This is the FLIR C2 infrared camera, and that's the lens there, and that's the camera there. So you can see, that's me. Hello. So infrared, that is a great ancillary service. Ancillary inspections, well, that's the additional inspections that you can bundle up with your home inspection service, and that's where the profit is, especially if it doesn't increase your time. Remember, you're trying to increase your gross revenue divided by time. You want to increase the top numerator and divide it by, you don't want to add. You don't want to take 8 hours to do a home inspection, right? You want to do it in your normal amount of time. Let's say it's 2 to 3 hours. So if you can add ancillary services in order to increase gross revenue without adding to your time, then that is where the profit is. And one of the most profitable ancillary services that I did was I used infrared. Now, there's a couple ways to approach this. You can try to sell it as an additional inspection service, like a standalone service, like an infrared camera scan, thermal scan, or home energy scan. For $150 or $200 or something like that. Or what I did was I simply realized that I wanted to add value. I wanted to overwhelm my clients with this perceived value that's much greater than the cost. So I used infrared during my inspections. It helped me do a better job as a home inspector. I wouldn't charge for it. I just demanded higher fees. So I increased my inspection fee. My home inspection went up $49 because I added value by using an infrared camera, and I allowed my own clients to help me purchase a camera by increasing my inspection fee. And they thought it was great because I started to become the only home inspector around who included free infrared scans during the inspection. And I just used it as a way to provide overwhelming value so I can demand higher fees. And it allowed me to do a better job. It was like a flashlight. Infrared is really like a flashlight. Don't get overwhelmed by those schools out there who are not accredited, like Internachi School, that are trying to sell infrared training over many days, maybe many levels, for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. You have to be trained in order to interpret what you're looking at. And Internachi has free online infrared training. We have an infrared certified program, an accredited program. And it's similar to a flashlight. So if you're using a flashlight, you're going well beyond the standards of practice. So if you're going to say, well, an infrared camera is going well beyond the standards of practice, you're exceeding the standards of practice by using an infrared camera. The word flashlight doesn't appear in the standards of practice. So if you're using a flashlight, and I know you are, if you're using a GFCI tester, and I know you are, you're going beyond the standards of practice. So use it consistently, just like a flashlight, like I did, and allows me to see things that I wouldn't normally be able to see without it, just like a flashlight. If I'm in a dark attic and I turn on my flashlight, high lumens flashlight, LED, and I flash it around, I'm able to see things I wouldn't normally be able to see without my flashlight. Same thing with an infrared camera. I'm able to see things I wouldn't normally be able to see without it. So it's that easy, but you do need training and you do need certification from an accredited school. I prefer to go to a school with a .edu on it. So infrared, that's a great ancillary service, additional service. And additional services, that's where the profit is. Most of my clients didn't know what ancillary services were available, and what to ask for. So you have to use this phrase, while I'm here. While I'm here, would you like me to test for mold? Or would you like me to test for radon? Or would you like me to check out the something? And that's your bundling, right? You offer services. So if you click here, you get to the infrared certified page. And that's what it looks like. Become infrared certified. And to become infrared certified, There are two requirements. You have to be a member of InterNACHI, so you have to join InterNACHI. Remember, we talked about it in step one. Why do you join InterNACHI? When you are a member of InterNACHI, a whole world of opportunity opens up for you because you have access, you have entree, you have a portal through which you go, a doorway to go and access a ton of things that are available to you only through InterNACHI for our members. And then you have to complete the certification requirements to become infrared certified. You get to use the fancy logo there too. There's another link, the infrared camera on this page. This is Inspector Coach's store, and the infrared camera is there as well, and you can just order it through Amazon. You can also go to our e-commerce partner, inspectoroutlet.com, and there's tools here, and there's infrared cameras. Now, Inspector Outlet has a ton of resources, tools. They have a big store, it's an online store, and Inspector Outlet provides discounts exclusive for InterNACHI members, and the FLIR camera is there too, as well as many other cameras. Now, if you want to know what's the difference between this affordable, right now it's less than $500, and don't add to your overhead, increase your fee and allow your own clients to help you purchase this tool. So if you wanted to compare what this camera does with other cameras, well, I already did that for you in a video, so we can take a look at that video by clicking the link. So let's click the link now. It's this little guy. You can stick it in your pocket, right? Takes really good pictures. It takes a picture of what you're looking at with your eyes and also what you're looking at with infrared. But it's not as high resolution as the FLIR E8, which is this monster here, right? And so you get to see more with the higher resolution camera. Let's put them side by side. Now we have a recommendation. There's a standard out there, and it's a recommendation for the minimum pixel resolution. So it's 120 by 120. That's the minimum. But this FLIR C2 is 80 by 60. And the FLIR E8 is way above the minimum, 320 by 240. That's the pixel resolution difference. But to your eyes, and just looking at the images, what is the difference that you see? Well, the FLIR E8, there's more resolution than the FLIR C2 on the right. FLIR C2 is on the right, FLIR E8 is on the left. There's a bit of a difference. It's up to you to determine whether that difference is critical enough for you to choose one over the other, right? Either one, though, according to InterNACHI and InterNACHI's founder, Nick Gromicko, an infrared camera will help a home inspector do their job better, even the FLIR C2. That's a quote from InterNACHI's founder. Here's the big difference. The big difference is about $3,000. So is it worth to you? Is the FLIR E8 on the left worth more, about $3,000 more than the FLIR C2 on the right? That is really up to you to determine. So I just wanted to make that comparison. There's a lot of issues with which camera to buy. I highly recommend getting your foot into the door of infrared by buying the FLIR C2. There are other infrared cameras that are actually of a lower resolution than the FLIR C2, and they're not very good. So you have to think, in relation to marketing, if the perceived value, what your client perceives as value, is greater than the cost, then it's a good business decision. So going back, let's make up a scenario. I'm going to do 100 inspections in 2017, this coming year. If I invest in a $600 camera, which is a special price for members through inspectoroutlet.com. If I'm going to spend $599 for 100 inspections using an infrared camera, because I use infrared on every home inspection, that's my brand, it's going to cost me about $5.99 per job to use an infrared camera until it starts to pay back, right? So I could advise my friend who's using an infrared camera that costs $600 for the next 100 inspections to raise her fee by $6. And that would allow her clients to pay for you using a brand new infrared camera, right? So what is the perceived value? The perceived value is a lot more than the cost. The cost to you is nothing. It costs you nothing if you raise your fee adjusted to the number of inspections that you do and to cover the cost, right? So it costs you nothing, and the perceived value to your client is really great. I've always found from infrared certified inspectors that their clients value infrared incredibly. So it's a lot.
That's a great video. And it goes on, that training video. So click the link and watch the entire video about using infrared.
But before you pick up an infrared camera, you have to get trained. And we have training and certification, and it's online at nachi.org/IR. You have to get trained in order to interpret what your infrared camera is showing you. Think of an infrared camera as a flashlight. Using a flashlight allows me to see things that I wouldn't normally be able to see without it. Same thing with an infrared. Using an infrared camera allows me to see things that I wouldn't normally be able to see without it. Can't really see everything, but I can see a lot more with it. If I can see a lot more in my visual inspection, that means I'm a better inspector. So don't freak out about infrared. Why am I talking about infrared? Because this is probably my best example of how I differentiated myself from all of my competition. I wanted to stand out from all the crowd, because if you don't, then you are a commodity, man. You're interchangeable with anybody else. And if you are different, it's only because of price. And they're going to pick the cheapest one. So don't do that. Don't live in the world of commodity. You have to figure out what works for you. And I wanted to show you that infrared worked for me. And you can still do it. Here's an exercise. But before you pick up an infrared camera, you have to get trained.
I like that video as well. So infrared. Don't be afraid of the infrared. Make sure you market it. Put it on your website and on your marketing and your business cards, and get that message out. And that's part of your brand now. Now you are infrared certified, and you include or add on this infrared scan, this ability to see things that other home inspectors just can't see, simply because they didn't take the initiative to be infrared certified and invest in an affordable camera. So those are good training videos. Take a look at that and become infrared certified, which is a free online program provided by InterNACHI to InterNACHI members to become infrared certified.